Okay, so I want you to pay maximum attention to this. Look at this. Let's try to conceptualize this. Let's start with the light zone. The light band, not the light zone. Now the light band starts from here. I'm going to draw so that it goes through the downer drawing as well, so that you know how to draw next time. So the light band starts from there. And whenever you see these thin lines here, this thin line, the one you are seeing here, this one, whenever you see that thin line, we are going to use those thin lines as the thin actin filaments, the thin actin filaments. Then whenever you see these thick lines, this one, this thick line here, it will be the thick myosin filaments. So the thick lines will represent the thick myosin filaments. Then the thin lines will be the actin filaments. Now, notice that in this dark zone, starting from this point up to this point, there are no thick lines. There are only thin lines. Those are the thin myosin, rather the thin actin filaments. And in the middle of that light band, there is a thick line, this one here, which is correlating to this thick line up there. We have just drawn this drawing, we have drawn it in details down there. So we are trying to compare. So this line is the same as the Z line, okay? And this region, we can see that it doesn't have any thick lines, so it doesn't have any myosin. Now when you are drawing, okay, let's first leave about the drawing and first analyze it. So we are also saying that in this drawing, the light band only has these thin actin filaments. You can see all over, if we pick a portion of the light band, it is only the thin filaments. Then we have the dark band starting from this point up to this point. That's the dark band. But the dark band has two major regions. There is the middle region which appears lighter, this middle region. Oh, I should make it proceed up so that you see it. So this middle region, this middle region, starting from here up to there. So the middle region, which filaments are in the middle region? Are there thin ones? Are there the thin lines? They are not there. It is only the thick lines. These thick lines here are the ones which are making the middle zone. The middle zone is called the H zone. Remember we said, if you have two pieces of paper, one thick and the other one is thin, when you look through the thin one, you see a lot of light. You can even see through it. So it is light. It forms the lighter band. Then, when you look through the thick one, you can see some light, but not like the one of the thin. So that one forms the H zone. It has only the thick myosin filaments, the thick lines. Then, of course, in the middle of that H zone, we have the M line. This line here is the M line. Right? Good. Then, if you extract a portion of that H zone, you will see that sincerely, they are only the thick myosin filaments. There are no thin actin filaments like here. Then, if you looked at the other portions of the dark zone, this side and this side of the H zone. Remember, there are two portions of the dark zone. There is the middle one, which is lighter. Then there are the side portions, which are thicker, rather, which are darker. So if you look at this, which lines does it have? Does it have the thick ones? Yes, it has. These are the thick lines. It has the thick lines. The thick lines. Does it also have the thin ones? Yes, it does. They are the thin lines here. So this region has both the thick and the thin. That is where they meet, the region where they meet. Because of that, it really appears darker. So even when we are drawing an extract, you see the thick ones and the thin ones also present. The same thing to this region, because they are the same regions. This one, you can see they are the thick ones and the thin ones. The thick, the thin. So, you need to learn how to draw this thing. How do you learn? It is a simple thing. If I asked you to draw this structure, I would just expect a student, for example, this one here. I would just expect you to know that there are alternating light and dark bands, isn't it? Then in the middle of each light band, there is a line which is called the Z line. So I draw my Z line. Then from the Z line, we have the thin filaments moving out. The thin filaments on both sides of the Z line. I draw it complete up to down. The Z line has these thin filaments going out. Then, of course, I know that the light band should be having only these thin guys. Okay? So I can extend these thin guys this side. I can extend them. I can extend them like that. Then I know that the dark zone has two regions. There is the lighter middle part, which contains the M line. So I can draw my M line here. I can draw a M line there. Then from the M line, there are thick lines. I make sure that they are thick. Unfortunately, I cannot draw well here. They are thick lines. And they overlap. Make sure that this region is there, where they overlap with the thin ones. So I draw. I make sure that I draw. They should be thick, where they overlap. I do the same here, where they overlap. etc. up to down, I draw like that. Try to do that in your free time. And then, of course, on this side also, the thick lines also radiate. The thick lines, the thick lines, the thick lines, the thick lines. Right? Then, still, on this side we have a light zone. So I draw my Z line, and then I draw my thin filaments from there. My thin filaments. My thin filaments. I make sure that there is somewhere where they overlap. So there is this where they overlap. Then there is this M zone where they don't overlap. There is where they overlap. Then there is my light zone. Then of course this side I still draw the lines. So it is a simple thing. Try to practice what is here, because it is a must that you must know them. So the region between two Z lines, this is the Z line, and then this is another Z line. So this region between two Z lines from here up to here is what we call the sarcomere. The sarcomere. This one here, this one, the sarcomere. So what is the sarcomere? Is the region